Something is breaking open right now. Not tomorrow. Not when the season finally turns. Not when the people around you come to understand. Not when the circumstances arrange themselves into something more hopeful. Right now, in this very moment, something is moving through the unseen places of your life. And what it carries was prepared for you long before you arrived at this moment. I want you to hear that clearly. This was prepared for you. I have been watching you, not from a distance. I do not watch from a distance. I have been near, leaning in, present in every room where you knelt alone when no one else was there to see. Present when you simply talked to me out loud, not knowing how much I treasured every one of those conversations. I have been in the silence between your words, in the space where prayer became only a sigh, only a breath, only a leaning of your heart in my direction. That was enough. Every breath of it reached me. You have carried others more faithfully than you have carried yourself. I know this. I have watched you hold the names of those you love in prayer like a weight that never leaves your hands. Your loved ones. The ones whose health keeps you awake at night. The ones whose distance presses against your chest like something you cannot set down no matter how hard you try. I have seen your knees touch the floor in rooms where the rest of the world was quiet and no one was watching. I have heard prayers leave your lips long after midnight in the dark hours, when you wondered whether anything was shifting at all. It was shifting. Every word you brought to me was received, not held at a threshold, not placed in a waiting room somewhere beyond my reach. Received, fully, completely, immediately. I heard every word. I see every name you carry. I see the specific situations that have followed you into this moment, and every detail of them is known to me. And I am not standing still. Let me speak plainly to you because you deserve a word that is direct and clear. What has been stuck is being unlocked. What seemed sealed and immovable, what felt like stone walls your prayers could not move, I am moving it. Not because you finally found the right words or prayed in the perfect way, but because the time I set aside for this before you were born has arrived. I am entering the places that felt permanently closed, and I am working in them with an authority you cannot yet see. I act before the evidence appears. I go ahead of what you are walking into before you can see what is coming. That child who drifted away from where you wanted them to be. That relationship that went cold and stayed cold regardless of what you tried. That door that closed years ago and has not reopened since. The one you have kept praying over in faith, even when nothing seemed to answer. I see every one of these things. I have held every name, every heartbreak, every petition that rose from your lips in the quiet. Not one word fell to the ground. Not one moment of prayer was wasted. I received it all. And now the time has come for my answer. Not a vague answer. Not a conditional promise wrapped in more silence. A full answer. A decree released from my throne into the specific situations you have been carrying. Where there has been coldness, warmth is coming. Where there has been distance, I am bringing closeness and reconciliation. Where relationships hardened into something that felt like the final word, I am sending my breath into them. Because my breath softens what no human hand has been able to soften. My spirit goes where your voice cannot reach. It enters hearts sealed against you. It moves through walls that your best efforts and most sincere words could not get through. I am already there. In the life of the one you have prayed over most faithfully. In the situation that seemed permanently closed. In the relationship that seemed beyond reach. I am already working. My answer was set in motion before you finished asking. And what I have set in motion cannot be undone. I want you to understand what is happening beneath what you can currently see. The circumstances in front of you are telling one story. What I am doing is writing a different one. And my story has never been wrong. I have never abandoned a chapter I intended to complete. I finish what I begin, not as a statement of possibility, but as the declaration of who I am. I am the God who does not leave things unfinished. What I started in you and over those you love is arriving now. You prayed. I heard. Now I am moving in ways that will become visible sooner than you expect. The prayers you raised over your family are living things, real and active, moving through the spiritual atmosphere right now, touching hearts you could not touch, entering rooms that stayed closed to you. Because I can reach anyone, anywhere, through any wall, at any hour. Do not carry this any longer as though the outcome rests entirely on you. It never did. I am in the middle of this. I am going before you into the situations that feel impossible. I am working in the details you cannot manage and the hearts you cannot move. My love extends past every barrier that appeared permanent. I was already in those situations before you brought them to me. I was already at work in those lives before you finished naming them. This is your word today, not a general announcement spoken into a crowd, a specific decree placed over your life, your family, and everything you have carried in the silence. I am not slow. I am not distant. I am here, and the time has come. Declare your amen if this word is reaching your spirit today. I know there is a longing that lives deep in you, not just for what you need right now, but for what used to be. You remember when things felt simpler, when the people you love were closer, when the table was full of warmth, when the conversations had life in them, when peace lived in your home the way morning light fills a room. That season feels far away now, and sometimes in the quiet, you reach toward it like something you almost remember clearly, but cannot quite hold. I want to speak to that longing today. I am the God who restores, not who repairs things to the condition they were in before and leaves it at that, not who patches what was broken and calls it done. I restore, which means what I bring back will be greater than what was there before. The closeness I am bringing to your family will run deeper than what came before. The peace I am building in your home will be more solid than the peace you remember. The warmth I am returning to the relationships that went cold will carry a richness that was not there the first time. What you are reaching toward in your memory is not the ceiling of what I am preparing. It is the floor. What is coming will be greater. I need you to hold that. Not as a comforting thought offered in the dark, but as a real promise spoken directly into your situation. What lies ahead is not a pale version of what you once had. I do not work in pale versions. I do not cut corners or settle for something reduced. When I restore something, I restore it with a depth and a fullness that makes the original look like a preparation. You have not yet seen the best I have for you and for those you love. You are still on the way there, and nothing about the road behind you has canceled what lies ahead. Now let me tell you something about every prayer you have ever prayed. Not just the ones in church, not just the ones said with the right words in the right order. All of them. The formal ones and the desperate ones. The confident ones and the confused ones. The ones that came out clearly, and the ones that barely made it past your lips. I heard them all. I heard the prayers you made at midnight when the house was quiet and the weight you were carrying was heaviest. I heard the conversations you had with me in the car, driving to places you can barely remember now. Just talking to me about what scared you, what you needed, the people you ached for. Those were real prayers. I treasured them. I heard the prayers that came out not as words, but as tears. The kind of crying that makes no sound but is louder in my ears than any shouted declaration. I heard the sighs, the long, slow sighs that carry everything you did not know how to say. I heard the silences that were themselves a kind of prayer, where you were too tired to speak, but your heart turned toward me anyway. I heard everyone, and I want you to know something important. I have been responding, not always in the way you expected, not always in the place you were looking, but I have been responding in the heart of the person you have been praying over, in the situation that seemed to be going the wrong direction, in the details happening beneath the surface of the things that look still from where you were standing. Nothing I received from you has been wasted. Not a single prayer, not a single tear, not a single moment of faith maintained in a season when faith cost you something real. Not one act of trust that seemed to produce nothing visible. I keep all of it. It all has a purpose. It is all being used. I use everything. The prayers that seem to go unanswered. I was working in the space between the asking and the answer, aligning things you cannot see, moving people you could not move, arranging the pieces of the response so that when it came, it would be full and complete, not partial and disappointing. I am not a God who gives half answers. When I respond fully. And now, I want to tell you something specific about what I am doing in this moment. I am the one who arranges. I am the one who aligns. There are relationships being prepared right now that will become part of the answer you have been waiting for. There are doors being positioned that will open at exactly the right moment. There are people being moved into place who will carry part of what I have been preparing for you. People you do not yet know are coming. My hands are on the details of your life in ways that would astonish you. I'm correcting what was out of place, restoring what was missing, multiplying what was sown in faith during the seasons when faith was the only thing you had left. Prepare yourself, not for something ordinary. Prepare yourself for something that will make the people who know you say, "That could only have been the hand of God." Prepare yourself for an answer that is bigger than the question you are asking. Prepare yourself for a restoration that will not just give back what you lost, but will give you something you did not even know to ask for. Because I see what you need more clearly than you see it yourself. I see everything you are carrying, the names, the situations, the weight that has settled into your body from being faithful in seasons that produced nothing visible. I see all of it, and I am moving in all of it, simultaneously. I am everywhere I need to be. I am in every situation I have been invited into, and I am acting now. Watch for what is coming. The evidence is on its way. I am pouring something new into you in this moment, not something borrowed, not something temporary that will carry you through this difficulty and then recede. Something new, a fresh anointing settling into you right now, an equipping being layered onto your life for the season that is directly ahead of you. I am giving you wisdom, not the wisdom that comes from long experience alone, though I honor experience. I am giving you a wisdom that sees beyond what is visible, a clarity that will allow you to recognize what I am doing before others can see it, to understand the step to take before the path makes it obvious, to know in your spirit what your mind has not yet caught up to. I am giving you courage, not the courage you have to manufacture by talking yourself into it, by repeating affirmations until the fear subsides enough to move. The courage I am placing in you comes from the inside, from the deep place where my spirit lives in you. The things that made you hesitate before will not have the same power over you. The voices that whispered you were not enough, that what you were believing for was too large, that the closed doors were signs you should stop knocking. Those voices are losing their grip. I am replacing timidity with something firm and steady, something that does not shrink when the circumstances push back. I am giving you strength, not the strength of pushing through in your own effort until nothing is left. The strength I am giving you is not yours. It flows from me through you. It rises when yours runs out. It remains long after your natural reserves would have been exhausted. This is the strength that makes it possible to keep going, not because you found something in yourself, but because you are connected to a source that does not run dry. There is a word I want to place in your spirit today. It comes from the book of Habakkuk. It says, "The Lord God is my strength. He will make my feet like the feet of a deer, and he will let me walk on high places." This is not poetry for a distant experience. This is a word for your life right now. I am taking you to higher ground, to a place where your perspective changes, where what looked like an overwhelming valley from the low ground looks like something you have already passed through. The path may feel steep right now, but I am the one making your feet sure on it. I am not sending you up and watching from below. I am going with you, setting each step, giving your feet exactly the grip they need. And when you arrive, you will understand why the path took the shape it did. Nothing I brought you through was wasted. Every difficult place was preparation for where you are headed. Every narrow passage was shaping something in you that the wide and easy road could not have built. But there is something else I want to tell you, because it speaks to who I am toward you in a way that goes deeper than provision and deeper than power. I celebrate you. There is a word in the book of Zephaniah that says this about me: "The Lord your God is in your midst, mighty to save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you by his love. He will exult over you with loud singing." Let that settle. I am not merely tolerating your presence. I am not just managing your situation or marking time until you get it together. I rejoice over you. I sing over you. Not because you have done everything right, not because your faith has been perfect, not because you have arrived at some standard before I allow myself to celebrate you. I rejoice over you because you are mine, and I love you with a love that requires nothing from you first. You are not a problem I am managing. You are a child I am delighting in. In the middle of everything you are walking through, the prayers that feel unanswered, the waiting that has grown heavy, the situations that have not resolved, I am singing over you. My joy over you is not on hold until things improve. It is present now. It has always been present. And in this moment I want you to feel it. Not just understand it as a concept, but feel it the way you feel warmth when you step into a room where a fire is burning. I am that fire. I am that warmth. And I am here. Now I want to tell you what is happening above you in this season, because it matters for what is coming. The heavens are opening, not in a symbolic sense only, in a real, active, spiritual sense. What I am releasing over your life is not a trickle, it is a rain. A rain of favor, the kind that causes doors to open with no natural explanation, where people arrive in your life who have no ordinary reason for being there, where provision appears through channels you did not create and could not have predicted. A rain of miracles, not in the vague, hoped-for sense, but specific answers to specific prayers that you have been holding for a long time. A rain of opportunity, openings you could not have manufactured, chances that will looking back like they could only have been arranged by my hand. This rain is coming for you. It is already in motion. To receive it fully, open your heart, not halfway, not with one hand reaching out and the other held back in self-protection. Fully open. The wounds from the past that taught you to be careful, I see them. The disappointments that trained you not to expect too much, I know their names. But I'm asking you today to let my love go deeper than those guarded places. Let what I am pouring out reach even the parts of your heart that learn to brace for disappointment. Where my love reaches, everything changes. Declare your belief today if this word is landing in your spirit. The miracle I am releasing into your life is not contained to you alone. I want you to understand that clearly. What I am doing is not a small, private adjustment to the edges of your situation. What I am releasing is something that will move through you and reach outward, to the people you love most, to the ones whose names you have been carrying in prayer, to the family that has waited alongside you, even when they did not know they were waiting. My blessings do not stop at the edges of one life. They overflow. I want you to imagine something with me, not a vague imagination, but a real one, the kind where you allow yourself to fully see it. Imagine the people you love gathered together, not gathered out of obligation or in the careful, stiff way that follows long separation. Genuinely together, the warmth returned, the easiness back, the laughter that used to fill your home, filling it again. Imagine the face of the one you have prayed over most, the one whose distance has cost you the most tears. Imagine that face turned toward you again with something soft in it. Imagine the relationships that seemed beyond repair carrying a new kind of solidity, a depth that was not there before, because I was the one who rebuilt them. I am building this, not you. Me. The reconciliation that seemed impossible. I am the God of reconciliation. The healing in the relationship that seemed too far gone. I am the God who heals what human effort could not reach. The warmth that drained out of what should have been warm. I am the one who restores warmth where coldness took hold. Nothing I intend to restore stays destroyed permanently. Nothing in my hands is lost without my permission. And I have not given my permission for these things to remain as they are. I am working in this right now. The miracle I am sending is not just something for you to experience quietly inside your own life. It is something the people around you will see. The ones who love you will witness what I do, and it will become a testimony, not just of what I did for you specifically, but of what I am willing to do for anyone who trusts me with the things that matter most. Now I want to speak to you about something deeper. I am asking for your trust, not partial trust, not the kind where you hand me some of what you are worried about and keep the rest back as insurance against disappointment. I'm asking for the kind of trust that says, whatever you have decided, I rest in it. Whatever timing you have chosen, I receive it. Whatever way you choose to answer, I believe it will be right. This is a different kind of faith than the faith that only trusts when things are already going well. This is the faith that says, I cannot fully see what you are doing, but I know who you are, and that is enough. Let me remind you who I am, not as a recitation, but as something to be anchored to. I am your provider, not one option among many. Your provider, the one who placed bread on your table in every season you have lived through, the one who maintained your health until this very moment, the one who covered you in ways you did not even notice, because covering you is simply what I do. The silver and the gold are mine. Every resource on this earth belongs to me, and I have never withheld from you what you genuinely needed. I chose you. Before you were born, I chose you, not based on what you would accomplish, not based on the strength of your faith in your best moments, not based on anything you would do or fail to do. I chose you before any of that existed. I placed a call on your life before you took your first breath. And that call does not expire. It does not diminish based on what you have walked through. It remains, and I am bringing you further into it now. Now I want to speak to you about a specific act of faith, because trust that does not express itself stays theoretical. There comes a moment in every journey of trust where the invitation comes to demonstrate that trust in a real and tangible way. Not in a comfortable way, but in a way that means something. The widow of Zarephath understood this. She stood at the moment of greatest scarcity, with barely enough oil and flour for one final meal. And when the prophet came to her, She did not calculate and decide to protect the little she had. She gave first. She honored what I sent before she had a single piece of evidence that a miracle was coming. And the jar did not run empty. The flour did not run out. Provision flowed continuously because she chose obedience in the moment of lack. Your obedience today is the key that opens the door to your miracle tomorrow. If my voice is stirring something in your heart right now, a sense that you are being invited to release something into my hands as an act of holy trust, do not let that moment pass in silence. Sow your seed today as an act of living faith. Place what you have on the altar of what you believe, not out of obligation, but out of the conviction that I am who I say I am, and that what I have spoken over your life is real. What you release into my hands in faith, I will multiply. What you place before me in trust, I will honor. This is not a transaction. It is a declaration that you believe I am able to do infinitely more than you have asked or imagined. I receive what you bring with an open hand, and I am faithful to respond. There was a night on the water when my disciples were certain the end had come. The waves were violent. The wind was against them. The boat was being overwhelmed, and no amount of effort changed anything. They'd been fighting for hours. They had done everything within their strength to survive the storm, and none of it had been enough. Then I came to them walking on the water, and I said to the storm, "Be still." And the wind stopped, and there was a great calm. I am saying the same thing over your life right now. The thing that has been raging, the anxiety that has been growing louder, the fear feeding itself on the uncertainties in front of you, the voice of the storm insisting it will never calm down. I am speaking to it now with the same authority I used to silence the sea. I am not negotiating with it. I am not reasoning with it. I am commanding it to stop, and it must obey me, because I am the one who set the boundaries of the sea. I am the one who told the waters where to stop. Everything in creation answers to my voice, including the storms in your life. I see the specific storms you are navigating, the anxiety about health, your own or someone you love, the financial pressure that makes ordinary days feel impossibly heavy, the relational tension that has stretched on longer than you expected, the uncertainty about what is ahead. I see all of it, and I am standing in the middle of it with you, saying, "Be still. Come to me. I want to give you something the world cannot give, something circumstances cannot produce, something no favorable outcome alone can provide. I want to give you rest, not the rest that comes from everything finally going well, because that kind is only as stable as the situation, and situations always change. I am offering you rest that comes directly from me, the kind that is present even in the middle of the storm, even when nothing around you has resolved yet. This is what I said. Come to me, all of you who are weary and carrying heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Not someday, now. Every burden you have been carrying, the ones you were meant to bring to me long ago but somehow kept carrying yourself, lay them down right now. The worry about the one whose health frightens you, the anxiety about the future of those you love, the financial weight that follows you into every room, the relational burdens you carry for people who cannot seem to find their way. Every one of these, lay them down. I am not asking you to stop caring. I am asking you to stop carrying what I am fully equipped to hold. There is a difference between caring about someone and carrying the entire weight of their situation on your own body. Let go of the carrying. I will hold it. I am not overwhelmed by it. I am not uncertain about how to handle it. I know exactly what each situation needs. And when you lay those burdens down, I give you peace in return. Not the peace that depends on the circumstances being resolved. not the peace that exists only when the report comes back good, when the call finally comes, when the situation finally turns. I give you a peace that makes no sense in light of what is still unresolved. A peace that cannot be explained by the current conditions, because it does not come from the current conditions. It comes from me. It flows into you like a river, quiet, deep, persistent, warm, moving through the places that were clenched with worry and filling them with something still. That peace is being released over you right now, in this moment. Let it reach the places where the tension has lived. Now I want you to look at your life as a field. You have been sowing for a long time, in season and out of season, in the times when sowing felt hopeful, and in the times when it was simply an act of obedience with nothing visible to show for it. You have sown. You have sown prayers. You have sown faith declared in the middle of difficulty, words of belief spoken when the circumstances argued against belief. You have sown acts of trust when trust cost you something real. You have sown in tears, in the dark, in the silence. I have watched every seed go into the ground. I have kept a record of every one. And now I am sending the rain. Not a light rain that barely moistens the surface. A real rain. The kind that reaches deep, that saturates the soil, that causes everything planted to grow in a way that cannot be overlooked or explained away. The harvest coming is not going to be adequate. It is going to be abundant. The kind that cannot be contained within your own life alone, that will overflow into the lives of the people around you, that will become visible to those who have watched and wondered. What has been planted is about to become undeniable. The people who watched you plant in seasons that seem to yield nothing will see the harvest. The ones who could not understand why you kept praying when nothing seemed to change will see the fruit. And when they ask, "What happened?" you will know the answer. Because I do not do anything halfway. What I begin, I finish. What I promise, I fulfill. I am not a God who plants and then abandons the field. I am the God who waters it, tends it, and brings it to the fullness of what it was always meant to become. Receive this word as your own today. Let it go down into the places where the waiting has been hardest. And declare your trust. Say it out loud, because words spoken in faith carry weight in the spiritual atmosphere. I believe the season of harvest has arrived for my life. There are things in your life that I did not plant. Not everything that has taken root in your story came from me. Some of it was planted by the enemy, lies about who you are that took hold in vulnerable moments and grew into walls, patterns of thinking that circled back on themselves and kept you anchored to the same place year after year. Some of it was planted by painful experience, disappointments that taught you not to hope too much, losses that made openness feel dangerous, betrayals that quietly built a distance between you and the kind of trust I am calling you back toward. I am the gardener. I know what I planted, and I know what I did not. And in this season, I am doing something that may feel like loss before it feels like freedom. I am removing what does not belong. What I pull from your life is not punishment. It is precision. I am clearing ground so that what I plant next will have room to grow, without competition from the things that were taking your light, your strength, your attention away from where I was trying to lead you. Do not grieve what I am removing. What I have for you in its place is infinitely better than what is leaving. And now I want to give you a promise from my word. One that I want to land in your spirit today as something personal, something spoken directly into this moment of your life. In the book of Isaiah, I said this: I will go before you and level the exalted places. I will break down the gates of bronze and cut through the bars of iron. I will give you the treasures of darkness and the riches hidden in secret places, so that you may know that it is I, the Lord, who calls you by your name. Receive this word piece by piece, because each piece matters. I am going before you. Right now, in the situations ahead that you cannot yet see clearly, I am already there. I have been in the room before you arrived. I have already seen what is coming before you encounter it. I am leveling what stood above its station, the things that seem to tower over your future and block the path. They are not permanent. I go ahead of them, and what I meet, I handle. The gates of bronze, the barriers that felt too solid to give way, I am breaking them. Now, what resisted every human effort yields to my authority. No situation is locked to me. No door stays sealed when I decide to open it. And the treasures hidden in secret places, here I want you to pause. What I am bringing into your life is not only the restoration of what you lost, it is the revelation of what was always set aside for you, but hidden until this season. Things that belong to you, that were prepared for you, that could not have arrived before now. Resources you did not know existed. Relationships that carry something essential for where you are going. Wisdom that unlocks what you have been trying to open for years by the wrong method. Opportunities placed along your path that will look, in hindsight, like they could only have been arranged from above. They are coming out of hiding now. All of it, every piece, is so that you will know. Not simply believe in a general sense, but know. Know with a certainty that settles into the bones. Know by experience what you previously held only by faith. That I'm the Lord. That I call you by your name. That I act on your behalf specifically and personally. Not as one face in a crowd, but as the one I set my love on before the world was made. Now let me speak about drawing near. I am not difficult to find. I am not requiring the perfect moment or the resolution of your doubts before you come. I am asking you to come as you are, where you are, with whatever you are carrying, and I make this promise. When you draw near to me, I draw near to you. When you take one step toward me, I move toward you with something that makes your one step feel like the beginning of something you have been looking for. Do not let the pace of ordinary days steal the moments we could have together. The quiet place where I speak most clearly is not far. It is closer than you realize. Now, let me speak to you about the small signs. Do you remember the prophet Elijah? He had prayed and the sky had not yet answered. Not visibly. Not with anything that looked like what he was believing for. He told his servant to look at the sky. The servant came back 6 times with nothing to report. On the 7th look, he said, "There is a cloud, the size of a man's hand." That was enough for Elijah. He declared that a great rain was coming, and the sky grew dark, and the wind rose, and there was a great abundance of rain. What is the small sign in your life right now? What is the thing that seems minor, barely worth noting, that you have been walking past? I am asking you to look again. What looks small to your natural eyes may be the leading edge of something enormous. The cloud the size of a hand is not the end of what I am doing. It is the first word of it. Do not despise small beginnings. Do not pass over what seems minor. Because what follows the small sign in your life will fill the sky. The cycles that have repeated in your life, the patterns of pain that circled back, the seasons of scarcity that seemed to have no end, the frustrations that return no matter what you tried. Today, I declare them broken, not slowed, not reduced, broken. The pattern ends here. This is a new chapter, and the old cycles do not carry forward into it. Something genuinely new is beginning. I want to remind you of something my servant Paul wrote, from a place of difficulty, in a season where nothing about his circumstances suggested the words were true. And this is what he said: I am confident of this very thing, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. I began a good work in you, Not a small work. Not a work that was abandoned when the going became difficult, or that expired when you fell short, or that became conditional on your consistent performance. A good work. Chosen, intentional, designed with a purpose. And I have committed to bringing it to completion. This means something about your story. It means the story is not over. It means the chapter that felt like an ending was a transition. And what comes next belongs to a completion I have already planned. It means every difficult place you walk through was not an interruption to the story. It was part of the story. Everything I began in you is still moving, even when it looks still. Let this be the foundation, not hope based on how the circumstances appear right now, not confidence that depends on the next good piece of news. Confidence based on who I am and what I said. I finish what I begin. I keep every promise I have spoken. I do not start something and walk away from it. That foundation does not shake with circumstances, because it is not made of circumstances. It is made of my character, and my character does not change. Now I want to speak to you about what I do with broken things. I am the one who takes what was shattered and makes it beautiful. Not patched together so that the cracks are just hidden, but genuinely, undeniably beautiful. The places in your life that were damaged, the seasons that left marks, the choices that brought pain, the things that happened to you that you would undo if you could. I am not asking you to pretend none of it happened. I am asking you to watch what I do with it. I make beauty from ashes. That is a real promise about a real process I am engaged in right now. The things that burned, the things that fell apart, the things that left ruins. I am in the ruins, building something new. And what I build from ruins is stronger than what was there before, because it was built by me with material the fire could not destroy. Nothing is wasted in my hands. Not one prayer that felt like it went nowhere. Not one season of faithfulness that seemed to produce nothing visible. Not one night of tears. Not one moment of trust maintained when everything argued against it. I keep all of it. I am using all of it. It is all being woven into what I am completing in your life, and the finished work will show, clearly, unmistakably, that every thread was part of the design. I see your details, every single one. I see the prayer that felt too small to bring to me. I received it. I see the hope you barely dared to voice, the one you pulled back because hoping it felt too risky. I heard it. I see the need you have not spoken out loud to anyone, the one that sits in the quiet place of your heart, where you have not even let yourself fully want it because wanting it meant risking disappointment again. I see it. I have always seen it. Nothing escapes my notice. Nothing is beyond my reach. I am not a God who handles the large things and leaves the small things to chance. I am the God who knows every detail of your life, the God who is paying attention at levels you would not even think to ask about. Your life is not too complex for me to hold. The people you love are not too many for me to keep watch over. Every situation is before me. Every name is in my hands. I want you to understand what is happening in this moment. This specific, appointed moment. You did not arrive here by accident. There is no such thing as accident in the hands of a God who holds all things together. Something brought you to this word at this exact point in your journey, because there is something in it that your spirit needed to receive. Something that needed to be spoken over you at this precise moment. And I am the one who arranged it. The impossible is becoming inevitable. That is the word I want you to carry forward. What looked impossible from where you were standing, the restoration that seemed too far gone, the miracle that seemed too large, the change in the person you love that seemed beyond reach. It is becoming inevitable, because I have set my hand to it, because I have spoken it, because what I speak does not return to me empty. It accomplishes exactly what I sent it to accomplish. You are entering a season that is extraordinary, not ordinary, not just slightly better than what came before. Extraordinary, marked by my direct involvement, shaped by my specific attention to your life, filled with the kind of visible evidence that makes the people watching you say, "Only God could have done this." That is where you are headed. That is what I am building. And as you carry this word into the days ahead, into the situations still waiting for resolution, into the relationships still being mended, into the prayers you have not stopped praying, carry it with this settled in you: I am for you. I have always been for you. I will never stop being for you. I go before you into what lies ahead, and I go with you. What met you with resistance before will yield. What closed against you before will open. There is no part of your future I have not already visited, and nothing you are walking toward is outside of my care. Trust this. Live from this. Let it be the settled thing beneath every unsettled circumstance you face. There is a room in your heart you have kept locked, not out of rebellion, but out of self-protection. You sealed it after the disappointment that taught you not to expect too much. I know that room. I have been standing outside its door, not forcing it, waiting for you to trust me with what is inside. Today, I am asking you to open it. What you hid there is not too much for me. The anger you never voiced, the grief you minimized, the dream you quietly buried because it hurt too much to keep hoping. Bring it into the light. I will not despise it. I will not judge what it took you years to admit even to yourself. I am gentle with what is fragile. What you release to me today will not be used against you. It will be transformed. The very thing you were ashamed to carry becomes, in my hands, part of your testimony. Open the room. I am already inside it, waiting with love. There is a room in your heart you have kept locked, not out of rebellion, but out of self-protection. You sealed it after the disappointment that taught you not to expect too much. I know that room. I've been standing outside its door, not forcing it, waiting for you to trust me with what is inside. Today, I am asking you to open it. What you hid there is not too much for me. The anger you never voiced, the grief you minimized, the dream you quietly buried because it hurt too much to keep hoping. Bring it into the light. I will not despise it. I will not judge what it took you years to admit even to yourself. I am gentle with what is fragile. What you release to me today will not be used against you. It will be transformed. The very thing you were ashamed to carry becomes, in my hands, part of your testimony. Open the room. I am already inside it, waiting with love. Your season of the extraordinary has arrived. Declare your yes if you are ready to walk forward into all that I have prepared.
We run on viewer support only. For exclusive member-only content, scan the QR or see the pinned comment. God bless you.